Hello, my beautiful forest creatures. Welcome back to the channel for a new and different episode today. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to use Streamlabs OBS. Now, this is something I've been wanting to do for a little bit now because I have started streaming over on Twitch and it has been a fantastic time. And I know a lot of people have been asking, like, Rose, how the heck do you use this program, this like insane looking crazy program, which is Streamlabs? So that is what I'm gonna be showing you all today, and we're gonna take it step by step so you know exactly how to use it. So let's just jump right into it. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to pull up Streamlabs OBS after you have downloaded it. And to download it, you can go just to Google Chrome, type in Streamlabs OBS, and download it to your computer. And it'll pop up a little icon on your desktop with a cute little like message box with headphones on and glasses. It's the cutest little thing ever. And then it'll bring you to this screen. So this screen is where the magic literally happens. So the first thing you're probably going to want to do is you're going to want to set up your scenes. Now, if you're like me, you like your scenes and your overlays to look a certain way, and so you're going to maybe want them to look really cute, really fun, really festive, just kind of look like you. You can commission an artist to make your overlays, or you can actually use Streamlabs' own theme library, which I'll show you how to get to right now. So you're just going to go up here to this little like ruler and pencil and click on themes, and it's going to take you to Streamlabs' own personal library. Now, there are a bunch of ones to choose from. It can get a little bit overwhelming. Depending on the kind of branding or look you're going for your channel, this can be a really fun tool. Like this one right here. Oh, this is actually... wow, this is actually really speaking to me. I like this one a lot. Hello, I might actually have to use this one in my own personal stream. But the one that I'm using right now is the Magical Christmas because we are getting into the Christmas season. And I've got some cute alerts set up for that. So why don't we just kind of take a look here. Like there's a bunch of different ones and you can sort these by the different categories of games. It doesn't actually matter. Like the role-playing games, you've got Sweater Weather, you've got this Trader's Wood, you've got Call of Cthulhu. They don't make a lot of sense as far as the organization of it. Streamlabs kind of hasn't gotten on the whole Virgo train of being organized the house, but you know, it is a-okay. So we'll just kind of look over here, and typically every set of these Streamlab elements will come with an alert box library because you really are going to need to have an alert box set up for your stream. I actually think I want to use this. What scenes does this come with? This comes with a live stream starting in an offline screen. I kind of think I want something different for this. So let's look up the one that I use a lot, which is this one, this fully animated Mystic download. So we're going to go over here and we're going to install the overlay, and it's just going to install as a fresh scene collection in our editor. And as soon as that is done, we'll hop back over to the main page, which you can get to. Well, it's just going to do it for me, just like that. Okay, so we have our scenes put into our editor. It has made a new fresh scene collection for us, so now we can really get started. Now, the main thing you're going to want to do is look at your starting stream. You've got your pause or BRB screen, and you have your end screen. Now, this might look a little bit different depending on what you're doing and if you do have this installed as far as an overlay, but basically it's gonna look the same for pretty much everything. This is what it is. So all right, so let's go ahead and go to we are on our live scene. So this is what it's showing you here. There's a bunch of different things here as far as green screen elements. We're really not going to be talking about green screen here today. There is a webcam element, which we'll get to later, and a webcam overlay number 2 right down here. The main thing we're going to want to look at is the this blank screen. Let's just kind of start with a blank screen. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set up a game capture and or display capture for your scene. This is going to allow everyone to be able to see the game that you're playing, and also the display screen if you need to go out to like your browser, or certain games don't exactly play well with game capture, so you're going to want to just set up both of them. I highly recommend doing that so you can flip between the two of them. So you're going to go right here to the sources tab. You're going to hit this little plus icon that says add new source to the scene, and you have a bunch of options here. So we're going to be talking about most of these options on this video today, but we're going to start right here on the standard with the game capture. Just click on the game capture right here and add the source. You can title this anything you want. I typically just recommend keeping it as game capture so you know exactly what it does, and then you're going to click add the source. And then as soon as the source adds, you're going to see that this screen pops up right up here, and you're going to see that this pops up here as well. The main thing that I like to tell a lot of people that a lot of people don't know when they're streaming is that this actually can go away. If you set for this application to capture any full screen application, that crazy little screen right there goes away. Typically, when a game is loading up in Streamlabs, it's going to take a minute for Streamlabs to recognize that there's a game up on your screen. So if you don't really want this like crazy little scene to be up on your screen, you want it to just be blank, I would say set it to capture any full screen application. I've also noticed that doing it this way makes the game load up into Streamlabs a lot faster. So make sure you have it set to that. You can pretty much leave these settings as they are. You can limit the capture frame rate if you would like. You can have your cursor be captured or not. I just keep these the way that they are. I have not had any problems with it. And then you're just going to go down here and click done, and you have your game capture set up. Now what you're going to want to do is set the game capture here at the very bottom of everything else. That way, if you have your overlay turned back on, the overlay will show above the game capture instead of the other way around. Which there is no game capture up, so it's still going to do the same thing. But typically you want to have, oh, and I just put that in that folder. Whoops, you want to have this outside, and you want it to set up just like that. Oh, that still went in that folder. What the heck? Flopping already. Let me just undo what I did there, which I think was, there we go, perfect. So that is now out of that. So the game capture is at the bottom. The second thing you're probably going to want to do is you're going to want to set up the display capture, because as I said, sometimes games don't play well with the game capture for some reason. So having a display capture is just going to make it so that whatever is on your monitor is going to be captured. So we're going to go back to this plus sign here. We're going to go to this standard side and click display capture, and you can set it to your primary and secondary monitor, which I will show you how to do in just a moment. We're going to keep the name as display capture. Again, you can change this to literally anything you want, but I'm just going to keep it like this for the sake of it. And then this screen is going to pop up, and this screen is where you can set it to display your main screen in front of you or the screen that is next to you, which is, there's my screen that is next to me, and here is my screen that is in front of me. And you can choose for it to capture the cursor or not. As you can see, you now can no longer see my cursor on the screen, and now it is back. Now this screen is going to look a little funny because of course this is right in front of you, and it is mirroring everything in existence all the way into the netherworld. Woo! At your fingertips there. So we're going to take this, like I said before, and scroll it all the way down to below everything else. Now the display capture and the game capture, it doesn't really matter what order they're in, because you have this handy dandy icon here which allows you to hide and show anything on your screen. So if you're playing a game and you don't want your browser to be showing at that point, you can just kind of hit this and the display goes away and the game capture would be there. If the game capture is not something you want to be shown, or it's not really working, I would just hide this and show your display. This is a very handy tool to be using if there's multiple things on your screen. And if you're operating off of one screen, this is also really helpful, so that way you don't have multiple things overshadowing the other. So the next thing that I'm going to show you how to do, so we've got our screen set up, so that is very important. The next thing I'm going to show you how to do on this screen is to set up a alert box. Now this is extremely important. And it actually, when you go to that plus sign, it actually marks the alert box as essential. So this is one of the many things you'll be able to put up on your screen for people to see when you are streaming. So we're going to go ahead and put our alert box in so we don't forget. We're going to click it and add a source. And I would just keep the name alert box unless you're going to be adding multiple alert boxes. I don't know why you would, but that is up to you. Once you enable the alert box, this lovely thing is going to pop up, and this is going to have all the different settings for adding bits, adding donations, subscriptions, follows, hosts, and raids. So this pack that we installed earlier comes with its own bit. It comes with its own alert box. Now, right now, the alert box looks a little funky. This is not the alert box that goes with this pack, and I'm going to show you how I know that in just a minute. When we downloaded this pack, we did not actually download an alert box with it, so we're going to go to the alert box library, which is up here right above the themes, and we're just going to type in the name of the box that goes with it. We'll just do box, and this is the widget theme that goes with the pack that we installed. I'm just going to go ahead and install it right now, and there we go. That is now activated and installed. So when we click this, why did that not work? Now sometimes this does glitch out a little bit as it is now, because I have used this before and I know for a fact that is not the correct widget theme. I'm actually going to go down here to my original one and let's see if that fixes it. Okay, so as you can see here, this is my typical screen. I have my little Capum on. This is my old screen. I haven't used this in a while because I typically change screens out with the different seasons. So this is my starting screen. This is what you see when you come to the Mystic Forest typically, and this is the alert that I have set up with this theme. This is the follow alert that's going to pop up right here. So we're going to go down to the alert box and we are just going to right click on it and hit properties, and this brings up the alert box settings menu again in case you ever need to go back and edit. So for the alert box, you can see here that this is the default for the widget that we have installed. This is what's going to pop up for every single bit that comes across your stream. Now, if for some reason you wanted to change this font, if you wanted to change the animation, if you wanted to change how and when the bits are popped, you would go over here to this source and settings section. So you can change the title message, which would change it here. So you would have the streamer's name, cheer, the amount of however many bits, and you have the font. You can change the font size, the font weight, and the color. If you wanted to change the media of it, you would go here and you would just click change media, and then from your computer you can pick any sort of media you would like to change that alert. You can pick from image, sounds, anything you want. You would just click right here and it'll pop up your picture or media section. Wherever you have it stored, it'll pop that up. So we're just going to go ahead and click done. And the sound file, same thing. You can just click change media and upload it. Streamlabs does have their own stock sounds and images that you can use. Some of it you have to pay for with Streamlabs Prime, which I do have, but if you don't have Streamlabs Prime, there are different sound effects that you can choose from if you don't have sounds that you've downloaded. If you're looking for sounds to download, I definitely recommend Epidemic Sound. I'll put a link in the channel description down below. Epidemic Sound is a free, royalty-free site where you can download sounds, music, whatever you need to make your videos and for your streams. So we're going to go back to this alert box really quick, and I'm going to show you the we'll go back to the bits. So you can change the animation as far as if the animation fades in, fades out, bounces in, bounces out, stuff like that. You can also hide the animation if you would like. Pick the duration, the text animation, and the text delay. You can also pick the donor message, which I feel like this is actually, oh, for biddies, they can actually put a message into chat. I forgot about that. So you can choose whether or not this message shows up on the bit alert or if it does not. I personally have it set to do not because it also pops up into chat for me, and that is a setting that I've set on Twitch. Now, the alert settings, this is where it gets kind of fun. You can actually pick how many bits they have to cheer to trigger the alert. This is extremely fun if you've got like scare alerts going on for the month of October, if you have stuff set up for like activities, challenges, whatever you want. You can pick the minimum amount to trigger the alert and the variation condition. So if you put in like 666 in here, you can say that the bits used is exactly the amount of 666 for them to pop a certain alert. This is also really fun if you've got like different sounds set up as well. So that is how you would go about doing that. Setting up the donations and the subscriptions is pretty much the same. Now, the thing that I always like to remind people is when you go into the alert box, typically the raid animation is not enabled. You actually have to enable this yourself for your raids to pop up a message on screen. I don't know why Streamlabs has it set this way, but just so you know, when you go into this alert box, make sure that you go in and enable that raid message, or you will not get alerted when raids come into your channel unless you look at chat. I would recommend that you disable merch in the CloudBot store, only because I know a lot of people really don't use those. If you are going to use merch alerts in CloudBot store, you can just go in and enable those, but I typically have them disabled for my stream. Now, for subscriptions, you can change the media and the animation like I said before. You can also change the resub message to make it a little bit different than the standard subscription message. That way your resubscriptions get a different little welcome message than they would if they were just subscribing. And you can change that right here, and you can change the minimum amount to show. So you can change how many months it would take for them to show. You could say that it's not going to show until they resub for 6 months or 10 months or 12 months. I typically just leave this alone because I don't see a need to do anything like that, but if that is your jam, that is how you would edit that. For the follows, the same thing. However, you can't change anything about you can't do like a resub message or anything like that, because once they hit follow, of course they are followed. So you can change the media and the sound for that. You can change the volume that it comes, and you can change the animation as well as the title message. I pretty much kept everything the same as far as this section because I liked how everything was set up. But again, this is totally here for your full and complete customization as you would like. The host and raid message are pretty much the same thing as well, and you can choose how many people are in the host or how many people are in the raid for it to trigger. Say if you don't want someone coming in with a raid count of 1 person, you can just change it to however many you like. Like I said, I keep this standard. I like to know whenever a raid or a host is coming into my channel, no matter how many viewers, because to me, they all matter. So the good way that you can test that your alerts are working is to go down here to this test widget tab and just go ahead and click that and click the follow. And it will play a little sound and as well as the subscription. And that will play a little sound as well. And then the next thing I would recommend you do is play the donation and the bit and the host. The raid command, the raid one is not listed here. I'm not sure why, because my raid is definitely different than the rest of my alerts. So I'm not sure why that's not down there, but that's a good way to see where it's going to pop up and on your screen, because you also can choose right here to move it around wherever you would like it to be. And I like it to be like right smack dab in the middle. So that is how we set up alerts. Let's talk about setting up our audio. Okay, y'all, so audio is going to be the most important thing that you have set up in your Streamlabs. So I definitely would say to hide all of the things that don't actually trigger a sound, because this little area can get a little messy because a lot of things come over here and they say that they have audio, but they really don't. So I typically say to, with your microphone, to start setting your volume right here in the middle between the green and the yellow, because you really want your microphone sound to be peaking in these areas. Now, you don't want your voice to be in the red because then you'll get distortion, and you don't want it to be too low to where they can't hear you. You want it to be right here in the middle. And then this is where filters come in. A lot of people don't know about filters or just don't use filters, but filters really are going to make or break the audio that you have set for yourself. So for your microphone audio, you're going to go over here to this little cog icon and you are going to hit properties. You're going to make sure that the device for the audio is set to your microphone. And as you can see, my microphone is now pinging right here with the sound. So you're going to just hit done, and then you're going to come over here to this cog icon again and go to filters. Now I have 4 filters set up here. Now this is something that I can't really necessarily demo for you because it's going to depend on how your voice and your microphone is set up as far as volume. But the main one that I like to start with here is the gain. This is going to make you sound louder or quieter depending on the circumstances. So here, if I do this all the way down, you can see that my voice no longer is showing up in that bottom right hand corner. And if I do it like this, you can see that my voice is very crystal clear. I'm right about peaking at the yellow with the highest point of my voice when it's set to 30. I like to set it just about, maybe depending on the day, like at a 2.5 to like a 5. It just depends on how loud I am that day, how I'm feeling that day. This typically doesn't change that often, but typically between like a 4. A 4 seems really good. I'm peaking right there at that end, right there. You can see that that's the loudest point that my voice is going to get. The next thing that I have is noise suppression. Now, noise suppression is very, very useful because it suppresses the noises that are going on around you and on your PC itself. So I have this set to the lower CPU usage. The higher quality doesn't let you set anything for the noise suppression. So I just recommend this because you can actually see what the suppression level is. Now I have this set pretty like low actually. So I'm actually going to get rid of this really quick and see what the standard is for noise suppression. Let's go over here, noise suppression. So this is set to -30. This actually might be way too heavy for most people. So if we move this over here and we turn this down to like -60, let's disable this. And if we go back to noise suppression, do you see how it did a little blip there? Do you see that little blip that just happened? That is because it's picking up small sounds of my PC, like the whirring of my fans. It's picking up like my breath a little bit. It's just picking up the smallest sounds that you don't think make a big difference, but they truly do. See just those little blips. So this is something that you really want to set at a reasonable level. I actually have it set to -4 because I believe once I got to -4, those sounds went away. There was nothing there that was making any sort of sound as far as my PC or anything like that. But again, you're gonna have to play around with this to see with your environs what is going to be the best for you. The next thing that I have is the compressor. Now the compressor is very helpful because this helps you when you do sometimes get to that red area. It compresses the sound so you don't blow out anyone's eardrums. So once you get to a really high point of speech, it will actually compress your voice to put it back down to where basically the volume is set for your level. So this is something you're definitely going to have to play around with just the teeniest bit. I'm actually going to disable it and re-enable it really quick so you can see what the default is. It looks like I pretty much actually kept it to default. I think the only thing I changed here was the threshold. But again, you are really going to have to play around with these. Now this, there are a lot of good, what was I gonna say, tutorials on YouTube on how to kind of judge where your sounds should be, but these are the ones that I kind of fiddled around with and picked. So I could get the best sort of sound and keep my sound right here toward the green and yellow markers. And I actually will link a video down below of the one that I really appreciated the most, so you can check that out. Because I am actually not the best person to speak about the sound too much. I just know it works for me. The fourth and final thing I want to cover is the noise suppression module. Now this is super helpful if you have like a lot of noise going on your keyboard, on your mouse, if you're using a controller, those little clicky click noise that no one really appreciates. This is going to block out those sort of sounds. So this is what I have it set to. I'm gonna delete this and go back in with it so you can see what it actually starts at. It starts at -32 and -26. I actually set this, I think I actually changed this a couple of days ago, that to where I have it to 20 and 25 because my sound was just getting way too suppressed as far as the noise gate, to the point where it wasn't actually picking up pieces of my voice. So again, you're really gonna have to play around with this. This is basically the threshold to where it will stop picking up certain sounds. So the sound has to be above -20 decibels for it to be picked up. And for it to go back to, or is that right? -20 decibels is what the sound has to be. I think I'm mixing that up. But basically what this does is it stops that like clicking sound and the clicking of your mouse and the clicking of your keyboard. It stops all of those sounds from picking up on your microphone. Now, the thing to know is when you're speaking and you're typing at the same time, those sounds are still going to be picked up because your voice is higher than -20 decibels. So it's still going to pick up those sounds. So just be aware of that when you're typing while talking, that people are still going to be able to hear that. But when you're not speaking, they should not be able to hear those noises. So just be aware of that. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you that's pretty important for people is how to set up a webcam if they're going to use one. So I do have my webcam set up, but I'm not going to necessarily enable it because I'm not looking that fresh today. But basically, you'll go down to the sources section, you'll click on the plus sign, and you will go to video capture device. And you will just click add source, and you will see here your webcam will either be listed or not be listed. You can add a new source, and I would just label it webcam. That way you know exactly what it is, especially if you have a capture card and everything like that put in. I would just name this webcam, and then here is where you're going to pick that video capture source. You're going to pick it right from your webcam. As you can see, my face with no makeup on today. That is what you are going to pick, and then you can pick the different properties. You can configure the video to make it look a certain way. So I can go over here and make it a little bit brighter, a little bit not. I can put up the contrast, the saturation. It looks like a winter day in here. I'm gonna make myself a little satty up here. Okay, I look a little bit better. I'm looking a little bit better. And you can do the sharpness down and up, and you can also do some low light compensation if it's a little dark. Stuff like that. Ooh, that made it bright in here. That's what you're going to do for that. So, you can also remove it if you don't want it to be seen again, which is what I don't want to do. Okay, so that's how you would set up a webcam. The next thing that's really helpful, you see this little reindeer here? You see this little, my friend Rudolph over here? I'm going to show you how to set up Rudolph. So some sources that you'll need to use require a browser source. So you'll go over here to the browser source, and we're going to go ahead and add it. And this is where you can add stuff like my little friend Rudolph here. You can just go and add a new source. You can title it whatever you want, but it's going to come over here and it's going to ask you to put in a URL. This is where you can put in things like my Capamon, put in things like donation boxes, stuff like that, that require a source to show up. They're going to be right here, and you're going to put in their URL, just like that. That one's pretty easy to set up, actually. And I actually have on my Christmas stream, I do have a donation. I have a charity going on, so I have a little browser source of the charity bar that is there. But this is Rudolph, and that's how you can set him up. If you go to capamon.com, I'll leave my referral link down below so you can have your own cute little Capamon on your stream as well. I think it's also worth noting that if you're going to be setting up a capture card, you're going to want to set it up one of two ways. So here's what we're going to do to set up my capture card. You can see that mine is already set up down here. I'm actually going to just remove this, and we're going to go ahead and go over to this plus sign right here, and we're going to go back to the video capture device, and this is how you're going to set up your capture card as well as your webcam. And we're going to go ahead and click add source, and as you can see, my Elgato here is already set up. If you wanted to add a new source, it'll show that dialog box, which we will do right here. We'll do Elgato, and we will add source. And then from this drop down box, you will see that you can choose Elgato Game Capture HD. And that is actually going to help you set up your capture card to Streamlabs. So that's what's going to happen right here. And you're not going to see anything because mine is not plugged in at the moment, but I want to show you a couple things. So this actually is what you will keep. The only thing you want to do is deactivate this when it is not showing. That way that there's not going to be any sound playing when you are not on this live screen right here. So that way it won't conflict with any other of your audio. And then you're just going to go ahead and click done. And then right down here, you're going to see this, where did it go? This right here. You're going to see the Elgato, and you're going to see that it's not transmitting any sound because once again, it's not plugged in. But we're going to go over to the audio settings, because what's going to happen is your Elgato actually is not going to automatically have your audio set up within it. So we're going to go ahead into this cog over here. We're going to do advanced audio settings, and with my Elgato, you see how it says monitor and off? You're going to want to change this to monitor and output, and this is going to make it so that you can hear the sound that is going out of your capture card, and also everyone else can as well. Now, a good thing to note is that when you let me hide all these things because they are causing me some stress. When you actually have your capture card plugged in, which I do not, you are going to notice that when the sound of the games that you're playing, or the sound of whatever, like your Xbox, your PS4, your Switch, whatever is going on in the background of it, you're going to notice that it's going to be coming through the desktop as well as the Elgato. That is normal. Now, what you'll probably notice to you, or when you listen to the playback, is that it's going to sound kind of echoey a little bit. To combat this, the only way I know what to do is to mute the desktop audio, and that'll make it so it's not so echoey for you and everyone else. The only problem with doing this is that no one is going to hear any music you might have playing. No one's going to hear any alert sounds. So if that doesn't bother you too much, you can leave it unchecked. What I have noticed though is that you'll notice the echoing when you actually have the Elgato capture card program up. It'll sound very echoey. So to kind of alleviate that, you can like go down here and make sure that it's not in your tray, which my sound capture is just on, but that doesn't matter, but it might be in your tray. Make sure that that is completely off on your computer, and that echoing sound will go away. Basically what's happening is you're hearing the audio from two different places when you put it to monitor and output. So make sure that when you enable that, you enable that it is monitor and output. That way everyone can hear the sound as well as you. And that is how you set up your capture card. Okay, y'all, the next thing I think I need to touch on is I need to touch on the settings before you even go live. So we've talked about the different scenes, we've talked about the different sources within a scene, and we've talked about the sound within the different sources and scenes. Let's talk about for a minute the settings before you go live. So right down here, we're going to go down to this little setting cog, and we're going to click on the settings. And you're going to get this big screen that has a lot of things going on, and it's a little crazy when you're first starting out. But the thing I want to direct your attention to first thing is this general tab and this auto optimize button. Now this is very helpful for people that don't have the greatest setups as far as computers like me. My computer is great, it can run some pretty good games, but running stream and game can take a lot of its CPU usage, which you can see down here. I'm currently sitting at 23 CPU usage. I do have an AMD processor, so of course we all know AMD takes up a lot more CPU. So for something like this, I would hit this auto optimize button, and it's going to tell me that based on my internet speed and my computer hardware, what the best possible settings are for me. And I'm going to go ahead and click start, and it's going to optimize my computer, or optimize Streamlabs based on my computer to give me the best possible settings. And then from there I can decide what I want to change and what settings I want to keep. And then bam, it's going to bring me right back to the screen, almost like nothing happened, but actually it went through and did a lot of things. So from this general screen, I have not done a lot with this, except I did check the confirmed stream title in game before going live. I also have automatically record when streaming because I upload the VODs to my YouTube channel, so I like this to automatically be set, so that way I have my recordings. I don't have to worry about going and downloading the VOD once I'm done streaming. I also have this source alignment snapping enabled. I don't exactly know what this does. This was enabled when I did it, so I did not mess with it. So if you know what this does, you can change this. But if you don't, like me, I would just leave it alone. And then we're going to go down to stream. Now this is where you can log into the different streaming destinations. You can log into Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and then another destination if you would like to stream live. I think you might even be able to do this through Discord, I'm not sure. But I have mine logged into my Twitch channel, and that is where I stream, which brings me to the output section. Now when you come to output section, it's typically in simple mode. I'm going to need you to go right here and click advanced mode. This is going to show you everything that you need as far as fine-tuning your stream to what your PC can handle. So the first thing that I want to do is click on my encoder. The best way to have your stream be encoded is through your hardware. Software is going to take a lot of CPU usage, and it's going to make your output look a little crappy, especially if there's a lot of frame rate droppage. So I would recommend you pick your hardware and let it encode from that, and I would enforce those streaming service encoder settings. The rate control and everything like that, the bit rate, I would keep the same. This is one of the things that was optimized when we click that auto optimize button. So unless you know for sure that your PC can handle more or less than that, I would keep it at this number right here. As far as the quality, you go down here and you click this preset of quality. This is going to determine the quality of Streamlabs or the performance of Streamlabs. I kind of pick between performance and quality because sometimes if the performance isn't doing that well, the quality isn't going to be doing that well either. So I kind of stick with performance as of late. That way everything still is looking a-okay. And then I kind of left this stuff alone because I didn't really know what it was, and I moved on. If you are going to be recording your streams for your VODs later, I would recommend the encoding format of MP4, and I would recommend they go in a hard drive that has a lot of space for them. I would also, recommend that if you do want to do 2 audio tracks, you can select how many audio tracks you want right here. I typically just do 1. If you do 2 audio tracks, it'll do 1 audio track of the game sound and 1 audio track of your voice, which is very helpful if you want to edit one or the other. Of course, the stream or the recording encoder, I would still set to your hardware, and I would keep the bitrate about the same. I would also say that if you want to focus on quality or performance, you pick one of these as well, and then you can move on to audio. This is where you can select the audio bitrate of each and every track, and you can name this. So you can name it to, like, your microphone is this track, or your desktop audio is this track. And stuff like that. The replay buffer, I don't know what it does, so we're gonna skip it. So the next thing we're gonna go to is to the audio tab. I had this set to 48, but my auto optimize set this to 44, so I'm just gonna keep it like that, and you're gonna have it in stereo sound, and then you're gonna come down here, and your desktop audio device is gonna be set to default. If you have a second audio device, you can set it up right here, but my microphone is my mic device, and I also could set my webcam to it or my Elgato to a second or third microphone audio device, but my capture card does not do that. So I would just pick your microphone and your default desktop audio and then leave this section. Now, the next thing that is very, very important, which I didn't know about when I first started streaming, is that your base resolution really does matter as far as how your stream is going to look. The base resolution probably should be set to 1920 by 1080 because that's normally the best graphics that your game will run in depending on your computer. The output that you want to set it to is going to be 1280 by 720. If you have a better computer, you can set this to 1920 by 1080 as far as the output resolution. But because my computer is still a little bit on the, older side, I have this set to 1280 by 720 and I still get very good looking streams. Now, the downscale filter, this is very important. If you are having a lot of frame rate issues or your stream is still not looking the greatest, I would set this to the bilinear. It's the fastest but blurry scaling sample. My computer actually says that I can run the sharpen sampling. So that's great, but I typically set it to this because the stream does look a lot better, especially when I'm having some frame rate drops. And this is where you can set what you want your frame rate value to look like. So I have mine set to 30 because 60 is kind of a lot to ask for on this computer, and my streams still look pretty good. Sometimes I'll bump it down to 20 just in case, but 30 seems to be a good catch-all for my FPS values. Now, the hotkey section, this section can get a little kooky, and the only reason I say that is because the hotkey section is great for people that do not have a stream deck, because you can set different hotkeys to start your stream, to mute your mic, to mute your desktop audio, which you will go through right here. I definitely used a lot of this when I first started streaming because I did not have a stream deck. So you can set a hotkey to start streaming, to stop streaming, to start recording, and to start and stop recording. You can skip an alert if you want to do that. You can toggle different overlays, and then you can go right down here to your different scenes that are set up, and you can toggle the different sources that are in your scenes from here. So as you can see in my starting soon screen, I have a lot of different sources that are going on in here, and so they are all listed right here for me to enable or disable as I see fit. And within that, you're not going to have to worry about setting different keys for muting your mic or your display or your desktop audio, because somewhere in here it should be here. Here it is. It's hidden right with all this other stuff. So here's your desktop audio and here is your microphone audio. So I have this set to mute with numpad 6, unmute with numpad 7, mute with numpad 8, and unmute with numpad 9. I chose the numpad because I literally don't use it when I'm playing games. It's the only safest thing that I had that I could use to set as hotkeys. So I could just mute myself like right here. So you see, oh, it didn't work. Probably because I have my stream deck and it doesn't actually recognize these keys anymore. But if I hit numpad 6, it would mute my microphone audio, and if I hit numpad 7, it would unmute me. I think this is not registering because I do have a stream deck now, and so those keys are set up through that. But that is how you would mute and unmute yourself, and then you can come here and you can deactivate or activate different browser sources within your Streamlabs. So the thing about this is that obviously you're going to need a lot of hotkeys to do a lot of these actions. So it can get a little messy, a little crazy, depending on if you're playing a game that also has a lot of hotkeys. You could totally mute yourself while trying to dismount your horse or something crazy like that. So, which is something we don't want to have happen. But just be aware that this is where you would set up those hotkeys. The next thing we're going to go look at is the advanced section. Now, this is also very, very important, especially if you have a PC like mine that likes to compete with games. So you really want to set your Streamlabs to process at a high priority, because this means that it's not going to compete. It's not going to be a battle. Picture a battle between Streamlabs and your games if you have an older PC, and no one is winning. It's like a stalemate. So what you really want to do is give Streamlabs that higher advantage of processing, so that way there's not so much battling going on as far as the game and the stream running at the same time. The second thing that's really going to help you with that is if you force your GPU to run as your render device, it'll really help your game. It'll push your game to run off of your GPU and keep Streamlabs on your CPU. That way there's not so much going on in your CPU and your PC is not overtanking itself, because it's not a fun time and that causes for a lot of frame rate problems. The rest of the stuff I've never actually had to touch or mess with. I truthfully don't even really know what it does. These two things are the only things that I come in here for, to make sure that my PC and my game are running smoothly when I stream. Now, this next thing that we're going to look at here is this is where you can actually import your own widget file to make for the different alerts or for your different scene collections here. I've never actually done that yet, but this is where you would import an overlay file, and this is where you would also import a widget file. So you can make your own alerts and your own files like these people did and just put them into your own stream if you would like. I have never done it, so I truthfully don't know how to do it. But I believe you can also upload them to the Streamlabs store as well. Now, the next thing, which I also think is very important, is enabling the notifications of detecting skip frames and dropped frames. And I have this set to 25% dropped or skip frames, which is going to show up for me right down here. It's going to show up in this little notifications window, and it's going to tell me, hey, you're dropping or skipping some frames. You might want to change your settings a little bit. And so I will make sure I kind of take a look at that and see what I need to adjust during stream to fix that up. Now, just to note, y'all, that sometimes when you're streaming, you can't access a lot of these features because you are in the middle of the stream and it's going to take not streaming to be able to fix it. So if you need to end stream really quick to change one of these settings, please do so. Take the time to do so. Your fans will still be sitting right there in chat while you're fixing something, and you can go down and press that go live button right again to get back to what you were doing. So that is kind of the sum up of what's going on in the settings section. You can set the appearance to night or day mode, which night mode is very much something that I appreciate, but you can set it to whatever like coloring you like. I also would recommend that if you are going to enable better Twitch TV and FrankerZ emotes, that you go here and check these two boxes, because if you do not, you will not be able to see what people are posting in your chat, because they'll just show up as the emote name and not the actual emote picture. So that is the summary of the settings, the scenes, the sources, and the mixer. Let's talk about the very important thing about streaming, which is going live. So y'all, right down here is this big go live button that kind of can seem a little daunting, because unfortunately you cannot do a test stream. You have to hope that with your settings set up and your audio set up that everything is going to run perfectly fine. There is not really a way that you can test anything out except for hitting this record button down here and recording a little test and watching it back before you go live. But when you are ready, you can hit that go live button. It's going to stream right to Twitch or wherever you would like to go, and this is where you can type in your title, type in the game you're playing, and add your tags. You are allowed 5 tags per stream, and then once you pick a game, Twitch will add its own tags for the game that you are playing. You also can enable tweet sharing if you also don't have a stream deck, which if you put something, whatever you put in here as far as the title, it'll put the title in here, and then you have the option to type something else in here. Just remember, y'all, you do have that character limit for Twitter, for when you're typing. And then also you can put your stream link in here. This will default to the Streamlabs link. So if you want your Twitch link in here, make sure you go to Twitch and copy and paste your link right into this box, and it will show up. Also, right down here, you can use the optimize encoder settings. This will set it to a lower CPU usage and provide a better quality stream, with knocking the quality down to about 620p, I believe, which still is not that bad. This is really helpful, especially if you need just one more little boost to make the stream look the best. And then when you're ready, you can just confirm and go live. All right, y'all, and once you do go live, what's going to happen is your stream chat is going to pop up just like mine just did, and you're going to be able to see when people pop up into your stream. You're going to be able to see all of your fans eagerly waiting for you. You're going to have your viewer count right here, which you can hide or unhide. You can see that someone actually just followed me. That's That's adorable. I love that. Thank you so much, Kinkira. If you're watching this, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the forest. But y'all, you can also send a chat in here. You can play around with your channel points that you have once you hit affiliate, and you also can change your chat settings, which I actually just found out. You can change the font of your chat to whatever you want. I thought that was really cool. I didn't know you could do that until a little bit ago. And then, of course, you can chat to your viewers just like that, and you can pop your commands. And that is basically it, y'all. That is the tea on how to use Streamlabs OBS. It's pretty basic. Like I said, I am not a pro streamer. I'm not a pro gamer. I'm not a pro at Streamlabs. But I wanted to give y'all just a little taste of what it looks like behind the screen as far as when you are streaming, and how to kind of basically get set up, especially if you have like a lower grade computer like I do. Because my PC, it's an AMD, it really struggles with streaming and playing the game at the same time. So I just wanted to give you all a little bit of a taste for you to get started. If you have any questions, please ask them down below. I will try to answer them as best I can, but I truly hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope this helped you in some way to be able to start your streaming journey, or just to give you a couple little tips if you've been streaming for a while and you didn't know something. Like one of my moderators the other day didn't know that you're supposed to peek in the yellow as far as your voice sound. So, that's kind of how this idea was born. But, yeah, I hope it helped. Thank you all so much for watching today. If you liked it, please leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below, and if you want to see more videos from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I am on Twitch every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and I'm also here on YouTube as most often as I can be during the week as well. And I am on Twitter. I will leave my social links down below so you can get in contact with me on other platforms. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.